Hello and welcome to Underpaid Gamers Podcast. My name is Justin. I'm here with my friend and colleague, Tony.
That's me.
Today we will be covering a wide breadth of issues and happenings in the world of gaming and entertainment. Plethora? I've made that joke before. Going through our list here, we've got quite a bit. One of our main topics today is the Call of Duty Infinity Warfare release, the remastered edition of Modern Warfare, essentially is what I'm trying to say.
Kind of.
So, yeah.
Slightly.
Tony's got...
We're also talking about Ratchet and Clank, Life is Strange, Dragon Quest VIII, and the Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
Yeah. And some other news going on.
The Mirror's Edge Catalyst beta.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a good episode. So
you know what I want to talk about right now?
What do you want to talk about?
Our awesome theme song.
Man.
Hey, Justin.
Hey, what's up?
Let's say that you weren't sitting in the room with me right now.
Okay.
And you didn't have my phone number.
Okay.
What is a way you could get in contact with me?
Ooh,
Underpaid gamer.
Can I do smoke signals?
Only if it's not windy.
Can we do carrier pigeons?
My doors are normally closed.
Can I send you a letter made of electrons?
Hold on. How do carrier pigeons normally work?
You write a short message.
Yeah.
Put it in a little container.
Put it on their leg.
Yeah.
And I always thought carrier pigeons are like, you take them with you, and then when you want to send something back, kind of like dogs, like they always on their way back.
Yeah.
That's how I've always pictured it. But can you send them out?
I think you send them out.
Like if I have carrier pigeons at my apartment,
yeah,
and I wanted it to go to your apartment, although it knows its home base is my apartment,
yeah,
would it go to your apartment, or would you have to take it with you and then tie it on, and then it'll come back? Because how on earth can you possibly tell a carrier pigeon to go like state to state?
You know, that's a good question.
I've always thought of it as, I'm taking this pigeon with me. When I need to write home, I'm going to put it on and it'll fly back home.
That's a good point. I'd never thought of it before.
That's the only thing that makes sense.
I guess, unless they know two destinations. I don't know.
But then, even so, that's only two.
Yeah.
Like, how'd that work in, like, ever?
I don't know. It's a good question.
In the old times.
But either way,
anyway.
I think letters made of electrons.
Electric letters?
I think that is what you've called them before.
Yes.
Electronic letters, also known as the email.
The email. You can email us at underpaidgamerspodcast.com. No, wrong. You take it back. You can send it there, but no one's going to respond. You can email us at underpaidgamerspodcast@gmail.com.
That is correct.
You can tweet at us at
UP
UPGamersPodcast.
Gamers Podcast, yes.
You can write comments on our YouTube videos at YouTube/underpaidgamerspodcast.
Yep.
Can you write comments on blog posts?
You can.
You can write comments on our blog post at underpaidgamer.wordpress.com.
Yes, very good.
What
else we got?
That's it. No, you can write comments on the SoundCloud.
You can.
Right now, you can say, I'm listening.
Yeah, you can actually comment on the exact moment that we're speaking.
Specifically on SoundCloud.
So if you want to test it, you can do it right now.
You can't do it on iTunes, as far as I know.
You cannot do it on iTunes. You can leave us a review, but we don't see those very often.
Also, you can't download and then comment.
True.
It has to be on the live feed. Not the live feed. It has to be on the
stream. You have to stream it from the website.
Twitter at UPGamersPodcast.
Yeah. So we're just
email underpaidgamerspodcast@gmail.com.
We're just making sure that you're aware.
YouTube, which is a relatively brand new endeavor to us. However, we have like 60 videos up.
We can't really say it's an endeavor because look at it. Let me just tell you guys. Let me just tell you.
Let them have it.
Okay. Tony has been working his tail off.
I don't have a tail anymore. It's gone.
More than a month. Probably 3 months, I would say. 3 months? I don't know when you uploaded the first video. Either way, Tony has been working really hard on the YouTube channel for a long time, and for so long we referenced a secret. And I was like, can I tell him yet?
A secret?
And Tony was like, no, not today. And for like 4 weeks, we held that back because we wanted to get our podcast episodes on YouTube.
Yeah.
Tony did all of it. I think I've only uploaded two videos out of the 60.
I think one.
Did the Battlefront one? Was that not me?
No, you gave it to me and I uploaded it.
Okay. I edited that one. So
yeah,
I guess technically you uploaded it. That was like a half season. So I did 1.5. I did 1.5 episodes out of all this. So props to Tony on the YouTube. So if you love videos, which I know everybody does.
If you love podcasts.
You can find both of those on
I upload our podcast episodes to YouTube. Because sometimes YouTube is more accessible than SoundCloud.
Yeah,
sometimes YouTube's more accessible than iTunes.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just like to have YouTube open when you're doing homework.
Yeah.
So throw on the podcast on YouTube. It's all uploaded almost the same. It's generally uploaded the same day that it's released on SoundCloud to YouTube.
or within a few days at least. And if you check our blog on underpaidgamers.wordpress.com, we also update our podcast episodes on there as well. It's just an embedded SoundCloud player. But in addition to getting to listen to the podcast, you also
There's something more?
Yes. You get to peer into the mind of mostly Tony, because he writes most of the notes too. And you get to see our episode notes in addition to...
That makes me a little nervous, because sometimes my notes are just a whole bunch of jumbled crap.
Yep.
That don't make a lot of things. That don't make a lot of sense.
But a lot of times you link in articles, which is really good.
I do. I link in articles all the time. Because people can see
where we're getting some of our sources from.
So,
which is generally just the internet. So,
Word.
A lot of different sources.
Normally just Games Radar?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Games Radar. I pull stuff from everywhere, but the very few things I say. I do contribute a little bit. My main project is really the WordPress. I spend a lot of time on that. I've got like 14 posts? 13 posts?
Let's talk about movies. Trailers, movies in general.
Yes.
There's been a few more trailers this week. Well, we're going to touch on a little bit. Yeah. One, the Magnificent trailer. Magnificent 7 trailer.
The Magnificent 7 trailer.
There you go. Starring the one, the only Denzel Washington, as well as Vincent D'Onofrio, better known as Kingpin from Daredevil.
Yep.
As well as, I can't remember his name from Apocalypse Now.
Yep.
Also, Chris Pratt, Hollywood's hunk, as of right now.
Yep.
And probably past couple years.
Oh, yeah.
And great. Ethan Hawke, by the same director that did Training Day and The Equalizer, which I think had Ethan Hawke and Denzel in both of them. Mm-hmm. Training Day is kind of an older movie, but it's a good, like, on the streets. I'm a cop on the streets movie.
I'm on the beat, yo.
I'm on the beat, yo. I'm a beat cop. So, we watched the trailer literally just 3 times because I didn't know which one was Vincent D'Onofrio, so I had to keep going back.
I noticed it the first time, but I let him figure it out.
But what did you think?
It makes me excited.
It's a remake.
I know.
Of the original Magnificent 7, which is an altered telling adaptation of The Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
The whole point of the movie, I'm going to speak about Seven Samurai, and then that will flow into the other ones.
That will open up the
Seven Samurai is there's like a village in old feudal Japan, and a woman, someone's like, hey, we're getting terrorized by these bandits. There's like 10,000 of them. We need someone to save us. We need an army to save us. And there's like one samurai there. He's like, listen, I don't have an army. Let me go find some people. So it's like a 3.5 hour movie, and like the first like 2 hours are him going out and finding these other 6 samurai that are the best in their field at doing things.
Yeah.
They go back to the village. They defend the village from like 10,000 other.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous amount.
Armors
and army,
and then like the last hour and a half is just a fight scene.
Giant
in Seven Samurais
fight.
It's legit
craziness.
And then the Magnificent 7, the original one. Mm-hmm. It's a western.
It is a western. American adaptation.
I assume it's very similar. It's a Hold the Fort.
Yeah, it's
Remember the Alamo?
It's a town, I believe, in Mexico is being attacked by these banditos, and
Los Banditos.
Some random dude from the village says, "I'm gonna go get help," and he runs into the leader of the group, who then pulls together all these random gunslingers who have been around the block.
The Western Bloc.
The Western Bloc. Some of them are younger guys too, but these 7 amazing gunfighters who then go protect the town against the invading banditos.
Banditos.
It's like a gang.
Okay, so we know. Well, we can assume that this is going to be the same thing for this one. Mm-hmm. There is like an Asian guy that looks like he's all about kung fu, so that'll be fun to watch because I love a good kung fu fight scene.
That's right. Which we're typecasting, but that's okay.
It looked like the 2 main characters are Denzel and Chris Pratt.
Yeah, for sure.
Chris Pratt is by far the youngest person in this group of 7. Do you think he's going to be like the gunslinger? Like he's going to have like that higher potential? He's going to be like the Gohan from Dragon Ball Z Cell Saga, where he's like younger than everybody, but he has a higher potential.
Yeah, he's going to destroy everybody.
Whereas like Denzel's kind of like the rough and tumble, like
right.
I've seen things and I can do things that people don't want to do.
Right.
And I have experience. But Chris Pratt is going to have like the higher kill count.
Probably.
Just because he's Chris Pratt?
I mean, I think that this movie, we're going to lose track of how many people they kill. I think that's what this movie is going to be like.
So it's not going to be a Lord of the Rings type thing where they're counting?
1, 2, don't tell the elf!
That still only counts as 1.
Oh, man.
That's fun.
That was a really fun part of that movie.
All of them.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm very excited for that. That looks like a good movie. I had no idea it was coming out until you said, hey, let's watch that thing. And I was like, okay.
The first time, the second time, or the third time?
The first time.
Okay.
The second time I knew what was going on.
I'm sure there was a release date for it, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
Again, I was just looking for Vincent D'Onofrio and not anything else. X-Men Apocalypse trailer, a new one.
Yeah. Watched this one today before I got here.
I have to admit, I don't care that much about X-Men movies.
Yeah.
Essentially since X2.
So one of the things that stuck out to me was that Apocalypse, the big bad guy.
Yeah.
It's Poe Dameron from Star Wars Episode 7.
I've told you that before.
I know. But
okay, just
for our listeners, if you don't know, it is Poe Dameron.
What's his name? I can't remember.
I can't remember either. Island of Daisy Ridley and John Boyega, and then every other person. I know everybody but Poe, actually. Pretty close.
I'm looking it up because I know names of actors.
Yeah,
and I know his name. I know his name.
As soon as you say it, I'm gonna know it. I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, duh.
Anyway,
by the way, he's the actor. I couldn't recognize him because he's got so much makeup on.
Clearly,
but it does look
Oscar Isaac.
Yep, there's Oscar Isaac. It looks like an entertaining movie. You know,
I think the reason I don't remember his name to cut you off is because he is Hispanic. Yeah. But nothing in his name hints at Hispanicity.
Right. It's two first names of
other people.
I guess. I mean, whatever. So, either way, this looks like a fun movie. If you like, I would say, from what I could tell from the trailer, if you like the new X-Men movies, and what I mean by that is like First Class, Days of Future Past.
That's really it.
That's pretty much it. That's like the new.
This is the third in the trilogy.
There you go. If you like those two movies, it seems like it's a similar style.
I like that.
You will like Apocalypse.
These movies are supposed to be set in the 70s. Or no, the 80s.
Yeah.
1980s. So maybe they'll keep to that. I assume they'll keep to that. I don't know what I think about this. I saw X-Men First Class in theaters because I thought it looked really cool. Yeah. And I saw Days of Future Past 2 years after it came out. Because it won an award for best visuals. And I agree. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
But there's been so many X-Men movies forever. That was I'm kind of worn out on it. I'll probably see Apocalypse. Yeah. If it gets really good reviews, I'll go and see it in theaters. If it gets mediocre reviews, I'll wait till it's online.
Yeah.
On Netflix.
For me, I got kind of exhausted from the X-Men series, from the old group of them. I would say I went and saw Days of Future
Past. With Halle Berry?
Yeah.
Storm?
Yeah, she was a great Storm, but all the extra ones, they had all the origin stories.
They have the X-Men origin.
As in Wolverine.
Wolverine, what did I say? X-Men? X-Men Origins Wolverine, I think is what it's called.
They had Origins Wolverine, then they had Wolverine.
Yeah, there's another Wolverine where he fights robot samurai.
Yeah.
I think that wasn't
that's the newer one. Actually, the newer one was better than the older one.
See, that's one.
A lot of that has to do with the CGI.
I'm tired of Wolverine.
It's so bad. I know. I think
I don't like Wolverine that much to begin with.
What I've enjoyed about the new ones is, at least with Days of Future Past specifically, was the one that kind of put a breath of fresh air into my lungs of X-Men, because
it was good.
Before, the First Class, I went and saw it. Wasn't actually that impressed with it.
Yeah,
thought it was all right, but I didn't see it as any different than any of the other ones.
Jennifer Lawrence was in it.
Jennifer Lawrence was in it, which was cool.
This was before she was super big.
Yeah, but Days of Future Past really was the one that turned it for me. I actually really enjoyed that movie. I've seen it multiple times now. So I think I'm more excited for that now. What?
Thor: The Dark World?
That's been out for years.
I know. I still haven't seen it.
Are you ever going to see it?
I don't care about Thor so much. I really don't care about Loki. So if there's anything else that happens, is there any good fight scenes in that movie? No? Cool.
Not really. There's some cool effects, but really it's about Thor and Loki, so.
Oh, speaking of Oscar Isaacs and Star Wars, there is a Star Wars fan theory.
Oh yeah, when I saw this on your list, I was excited to see what you're gonna pull out of your hat.
It's not my own fan theory. It is the pivotal moment in all Star Wars films is when Darth Vader says, "No, I am your father."
I'm glad you got it right.
To Luke. Yeah, how dare you think that I wouldn't get it right?
No, but seriously, in school today, we had a quiz, and a bonus question was, what is the line? And everyone picked Luke, I am your father, but it was a review quiz, and so I was playing along too as a game we played. I was the only person to get it right.
No.
I was so ashamed.
You were the only person?
I was the only person in the entire class, and I have Star Wars fans in that class. I was pretty disappointed with 5 of them, and then the rest of the class I was I would understand that they would get that wrong.
Yeah.
And then they were all arguing with me I was wrong. I was are you kidding me? Do you know who I am?
Did you show them the clip?
No.
No. I am your father.
But I told them what happens before. He's Obi-Wan told me that you murdered my father. And then he says, no, I am your father. He doesn't say, Luke, I'm your father. It flows better when he says no.
Anyway, I think it flows better when he says, Luke, I'm your father, but it cuts out a whole bunch of dialogue. From the Obi-Wan told me you killed. Yeah, whatever. Right. Anyway, that's the biggest turning point in Star Wars. Is you find out Darth Vader is Luke's father.
Right.
There's a fan theory that when, at the very end of episode 7, which might be the very beginning of episode 8, when Rey is on the island looking at Luke Skywalker.
Right.
People think that the very next line in episode 8 will be, like, I'm your father. From Luke to Rey. However, there's a fan theory that Rey says, Luke, I am your father. And everyone's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. People think that Rey is the reincarnation of Anakin Skywalker.
I've heard that theory before.
Solely from the Force. From the midichlorians, which I know are not canon anymore. But, so, in which case, if she was a reincarnation of Anakin Skywalker, she would in fact be Luke Skywalker's father. That's the theory. It's a funny one.
It's very interesting. I don't think that's going to happen, but I have heard the theory about Rey being the reincarnation of Anakin.
Yeah.
Which would be interesting, but I don't know how that's going to play along with the rumors that Hayden Christensen is going to be a Force ghost for like Darth Vader, or
Kylo. How Rey is going to be Obi-Wan's daughter,
or how Rey's going to be an Antilles, not an actual Skywalker.
No one thinks that. There's only 2 people in the universe that think that. It's you and your brother.
That's true. But we'll stay together till the end.
More movie news. I guess they're making a Jumanji remake.
Oh, man.
And guess who is going to be the main character?
Oh, I know.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Wait, is it John Cena? No, it's Dwayne The Rock. I tried to make a funny joke, but it didn't work.
It fell.
Dang. Dwayne The Rock Johnson!
So I assume he's taking Robin Williams' place as the guy that was in Jumanji for forever.
Well, I think...
But I don't know.
No, I think he's going to be the hunter. I think The Rock's going to be the hunter in this whole movie, because he's such a bad guy.
For that long.
No, but he's in like half the movie. He's like following them around everywhere. He's like the main villain that's chasing them around. Everything else is just the wild animals being wild.
I mean, kinda.
So I think he's gonna be the hunter. I don't know. I haven't read anything official, but I did see a tweet with him getting out of a car or something.
Yeah, I saw it. That's all I saw. Marvel news: Inhumans, the movie, has been postponed indefinitely. Will no longer be in Phase 3 of Marvel's MCU. So that's redundant of the MCU.
That's some news there.
Yeah, that's pretty much my reaction. I don't care about the Inhumans.
Yeah, I don't really care at all.
It's like 4 years down the road. I don't know. I personally don't know anything about the Inhumans other than it's like almost the X-Men. People are thinking that they're just going to buy the X-Men rights and then make X-Men movies. And Inhumans will be...
What happens for me is that I can only ride so many hype trains.
Yeah.
I've only got enough of me.
Only so many tickets.
I've only got so many tickets. You know, I can ride the Star Wars hype train.
Yeah, which you are.
Which I am always on. I can ride the hype train for Civil War.
Do you have like a
actually token? I'm the conductor for the Star Wars hype train.
So you don't need a ticket for that. So you have one extra that you can be on.
Yeah, I have one extra, maybe 2 if it's short. If it's like a short trip. Okay, you know what I'm saying, like if it's really close, I can get on the hype train for that. But my long distance train.
So if it's April right now and Magnificent 7 comes out in like June, you can be on that train if you wanted.
I think I would get on that train in like...
Are you on this Civil War hype train?
I'm on the Civil War hype train, but that's not very far away.
No.
That's a short trip.
It's a short train.
My long trip, Star Wars, Rogue One, and also Doctor Strange, whenever that comes out.
Yeah, November.
So I'm like in
4.
Those are my hype trains right now for movies. Now I've got other hype trains for video games. That's a whole different. It's more like a hype.
Those take not tickets. They take gold coins.
Right. So
as video games.
There it is. That's our analogy for hype trains.
So Inhumans postponed.
Yeah.
We don't care. For the most part.
I don't even know that was a train.
Yeah, it's there. Robert Downey Jr. is officially going to be in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Really? As Iron Man?
Yeah. Wow. There was some bad blood between Iron Man and Spider-Man at the end, during and at the end of the Civil War.
In the comics?
Yes.
Yeah.
From what I heard, so as we've talked about before, Peter Parker removes his mask. Well, Spider-Man removes his mask in Civil War. It's a big turning point, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, it's Peter Parker," because that's a big controversy in Civil War, is demasking of heroes.
Right.
So then, obviously, all of his enemies know who he is now. Mm-hmm. And then eventually him and Iron Man get in a fight. He switches sides. Spider-Man switches sides. And then after the Civil War is over, there's a comic strip. There's a comic book where Aunt May has been attacked by someone because they now know who Peter Parker is, because he demasked, because he was on Iron Man's side. So Spider-Man confronts Iron Man and he says, hey, this is kind of your fault because you convinced me to do this. And Iron Man's like, hey, you made that decision on yourself. I'm not going to help you. Essentially, Spider-Man's like, I need your help to pay for Aunt May's surgery. Because you have all the money in the world. And Iron Man's like, no thank you. So obviously, Spider-Man's ticked off about it. Later, Jarvis pays for the whole thing with Iron Man's money. So Aunt May does not die or get hurt. But
there's some blood.
There's some conflict there. Blood. So there's some conflict there.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's a rumor that Iron Man might be the antagonist for Spider-Man: Homecoming.
That would be crazy.
Which would be cool. But that's 2 movies where he's almost an antagonist.
Yeah. How long is that gonna last? I mean, for you would like him to just die. So
I don't want him to die.
Wait, what?
There's also a rumor that he has one more movie left in him as Iron Man. So whether that's Iron Man 4 or whether that's, I don't know if that counts as Homecoming. I don't know how Civil War is going to go. It's already released internationally.
Right.
I don't know if Spider-Man is going to steal the show or not. Is the thing. Because if Iron Man is in Spider-Man Homecoming, is he going to get the most of the attention? Or is Spider-Man going to get the most of the attention? Yep. But Spider-Man movies has always been Spider-Man versus technology. It's always like, that's always a big theme for Spider-Man. Spider-Man versus Oscorp is always huge. Oscorp is a technological company.
Right.
It's a biological, technological, chemical company. So Iron Man, the most technological savvy character in all of Marvel,
right? Stark
makes
Industries.
Sense that it would be an antagonist for a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Just based off themes.
If we go by that theme, yeah, for sure. And
what do you think about that? You think that would be an interesting twist?
I think it would be an interesting twist if the end of Civil War ties into Spider-Man Homecoming in the way that the Civil War does set Tony Stark on a path towards being the antagonist for Homecoming. Like if it has a direct connection like that, which Marvel movies do that.
They do
because they can, and they have to continually reinvent themselves. So I would say I'm in support of doing something like that instead of making them standalone films. Like having some connection there, I think is a good thing.
Well, it's obvious there's already going to be a huge connection because Iron Man is in this.
Right.
I don't think.
You don't think the story's going to connect at all?
No, I don't know about that, but I don't necessarily think that Tony Stark, Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. needs to be in a Spider-Man movie for it to do well. But maybe Marvel Studios just thinks that Spider-Man has been done so many times that it's not going to do well unless they have a big blockbuster in it. What also, spoilers possibly for Civil War, which I have not seen yet.
Yeah.
This is Iron Man and Spider-Man. It does not say anything about Captain America. So what happens at the end of Civil War to where Captain America might not be in anything in the immediate future? Maybe he gets shot on the courtyard steps like he does in the comic.
Maybe he's dead.
Maybe he's deceased.
Who knows?
Anyway, that's my thing.
We'll know in a few weeks.
I don't have any more movie stuff. I do have news. I was looking at Nintendo released a early summer release of 3DS games, and there's like Pokemon. There's like 4 Pokemon games on it. Fire Emblem's on it. 2 Dragon Quest games, which is my favorite. Dragon Quest 7 is being remade on the 3DS, coming out early summer of 2016, so in the next few months. Dragon Quest 8 also coming out on the DS, the 3DS, coming in 2016. I assume sometime in November or October. My favorite game of all time is Dragon Quest 8. I think if it transferred over to the 3DS, I believe that Nintendo has done very well in bringing the Dragon Quest games to DS systems. 3DS would be no different. If you have not picked up this game for the PS2 in the past, and you wanted to play a Japanese RPG, Dragon Quest 8 would be my recommendation to you if you have a 3DS.
Yeah, Tony and I both do like JRPGs.
For the most
he's
part.
A fan of Dragon Quest. I'm a fan of Final Fantasy. I will say I've played Dragon Quest games. They're a lot of fun.
They are fun. Dude,
Dragon Quest Monsters is amazing. I love those
so
games.
many. Every enemy, almost... Okay, like 80% of the enemies in Dragon Quest is a pun on something. And I love puns. I love comedy.
Tony's one of the most punny people I know.
Anyway, so...
Punniest person?
I don't know. Probably?
I don't know.
Most punniest?
The punniest of the punsters. Are you a punster?
I'm a punnier. A pioneer of puns.
Nice. See what you did there. Interesting.
Anyway, Dragon Quest 7, I have not played that one. There's a trilogy in the Dragon Quest series. 4, 5, and 6 are trilogy. I have not played 6. I played 4 and 5. 7 I have not played. 8 I have played. I am currently playing right now. I'll talk about that later. 9 I have played. It's a very different feel, so I don't suggest that one. 10, I believe, is coming out on the PS4 here soon. But that might be an MMO. That's a little bit different. I don't know about that. But I just want to throw that out there. See if I catch any fish. Just reel them in.
We'll see what happens.
May's free PSN Plus games.
Talk to me.
There's one that you're very familiar with that is coming out for free in May called Tropico 5.
Gosh dang it. Are you kidding me? I bought that game twice.
How much did you pay for it?
Okay, so...
Are you playing it on the PS4 or
I bought it for PS4 like 2 months ago.
Okay.
For, I think it was like $25.
Dang.
And then my group of friends, one of my group of friends, did we all got a Humble Bundle together.
Okay.
And it was like $8, and I got Tropico 5 for PC on that. And I started playing. I actually switched to just playing on PC because it's so much easier on a PC. The user interface is so much easier. So I bought it twice there. So now I'm up to, what was that, $33, $34?
Something like that.
36, something like that. Mid-30s. I can't believe it's coming out for free, but...
Would you suggest it to our listeners?
I would say if you...
It's a civilization game, correct?
It is a type of simulation game. I would not consider it like a Civ 5 or Civ 4 or Sid Meier's Civilization. A little bit different. I would compare it closer to Sim City if you've played that game. But it's more of like a joking way of playing that game. Essentially,
does it take itself very seriously, or is it kind of...
It does not take itself very seriously. It's kind of like a fun twist on a SimCity where you're actually a dictator of a tropical island.
Hey.
And so you're like trolling the United States, trolling the Soviet Union during the Cold War, like doing whatever you want, being a communist dictator, having a good time.
Yeah, it's normal stuff.
Some fun music. I would say if you're a fan of simulation, like SimCity, if you're a fan of...
City simulation,
any type of simulation game. I know there's like Democracy, the game. If you like those types of games, I would suggest it. If you are not a fan of that, I would not suggest it. I would say if you're a fan of the genre, it's a good one to have. If you're new to the genre, I would not start with Tropico.
I think I played a civilization game before and did not get quite into it. Maybe it was a demo? Might have been a demo, I'm not sure.
I think there are other simulation games that are a little more approachable than Tropico. Though Tropico is a lot more simple than SimCity. SimCity can get pretty complex. This one's not as complex as that, but...
Compare this to Roller Coaster Tycoon.
I would say that this is more complex.
Are there similarities?
There are similarities.
I believe there was a Roller Coaster Tycoon where you could make roller coasters and you could ride them in first person.
That's fun.
But that's all I remember. So yeah.
That's what I got.
There's other free games for May, but I don't know what they are. I just remember this one.
Yep.
Because I wanted your visceral reaction.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things.
So last week... In our last episode, I believe we reported a controversy surrounding the original release of WoW, World of Warcraft.
The strawberry flavor?
The
chocolate.
Vanilla
Neapolitan?
flavored.
Vanilla.
Not Neapolitan. World if it was Neapolitan, I would probably play
Warcraft. Okay.
Vanilla
Rocky Road?
WoW. Private service. Moose Track.
Bootstraps.
Part of the ship, part of the crew.
That's right.
I lost my train of thought.
Vanilla World of Warcraft controversy ended. Blizzard creates strippers.
No, that's not what it says. That is not what it says.
That's not your notes.
No, essentially what's happened is last week they brought down the private servers of some of their users who had the vanilla WoW, the original WoW game.
With no updates.
With no updates. Blizzard did not want that to happen. It's their intellectual property on private servers, and so they shut it down. They did a cease and desist order. All their users did it, from what I can tell. I mean, none of them are breaking the law, from what I can tell, besides what they already did.
Is that breaking the law?
They had a petition made of 250,000 WoW subscribers.
Wow.
I mean, there's only 5 million today that are on WoW. That still play. At its peak, it was 12 million. 5 million still play.
So
250,000 of them signed this petition.
Like 1% of the players.
Within a couple of days. But still, 250,000, that's a lot of names. And I think one of the ex-developers actually was the one who printed them all off and sent them to them.
Oh, yeah?
And so...
That's a lot of ink.
I know it is. God. It was like stacks and stacks. There's a picture of it.
What font do you think he used?
Times New Roman.
What size?
8.
Just a small font?
Probably.
You think he bumped it up to 14 and hoped that they wouldn't notice? Sometimes I would do that on my papers.
I know you did.
Bump it up. Oh, please, like you didn't. Sometimes you
I didn't do 14.
No, you do 13, 12 and a half sometimes.
You get the periods.
You double space after the period. You make the periods a 14 size font.
Right, that's what happens because you get extra space with the periods.
Yeah.
So if you're one of my students and you're listening, I know the tricks. That's all I got to say.
You gotta scan everything into a computer and then change it all to one font and see how long it is then.
Yeah.
As a teacher, not as a student.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's all right there, so
yeah,
it's pretty easy to check. But anyway, Blizzard has announced that they're going to create a stripped-down version of the game, getting it close to vanilla. They say they can't actually make it the same as it was because there's a lot of patches and fixes.
How dare they?
But they're going to make a stripped-down version that is close to the original game and create a server, an official Blizzard server, that is that version of it to appease the masses.
Ooh, I like masses.
So, congratulations, WoW fans.
Masses. I said I like masses.
I'm glad you said that. You clarified.
I'm not a Buckeye.
Okay.
For more clarification.
That's the WoW news. World of Warcraft.
Wow.
Wow.
What else we got?
You
have a PC update.
Did we already say that?
We haven't talked about PC yet.
Okay, PC. There is a new update for Fallout 4.
Woo!
If you own the game on PC, there is an update that now.
Wait, does PC stand for personal computer?
It does.
Or does PC stand for something else?
It stands for personal computer.
So when they used to have PC versus Mac commercials, it was personal computer versus a computer that could be personalized.
What are you talking about?
So like, they used to have those commercials. It was, I'm a PC, I'm a Mac.
Right.
But every time, PC stands for personal computer.
Right.
And a Mac is a laptop, which is then personalized. It's yours. It's personal. So it's a PC versus a PC.
I mean,
did PC win?
Essentially, a personal anything that is a computer that is personal, it would be considered a PC.
Are Macs any good at gaming?
No.
Is that because they have specific requirements and things are made for Windows and not for Macs?
Yes.
Mac?
It's because Apple controls everything that gets on an Apple.
Yeah, but you can play Angry Birds, you can play Cut the Rope. What more games do you need?
I don't know, man. That's really a good question. I never thought of it that way before.
So really, Mac wins.
So really, I guess Mac wins.
Candy Crush, probably.
Yeah, they probably do have that. Farmville, maybe.
Yeah, right?
Maybe.
Exactly.
Pushing it, though. So PC has an update that now you can browse player-made mods for Fallout 4.
Say that 5 times fast.
You can browse player-made mods.
No, just the last part.
Player-made mods. Player-made mods. Player-made mods. Player-made mods.
Ah! You messed up on the 4th one. I win.
Okay. Either way, so that's pretty cool. I love that idea. In the past...
I assume you can download them?
Yeah, you can download them and install them.
When did they start making mods for Fallout 4? People just make mods
people immediately started making
all the time. They haven't released them yet for PS4 yet.
Yes, which they plan on doing so
soon.
From what I've been told.
What would be your favorite mod?
Star Wars mod.
Okay.
Always.
Okay.
If I could get a lightsaber, that'd be sick.
Instead of... would you just make a melee build then?
Yeah. My follower would be a stormtrooper.
I assume they would put force powers in it too.
Probably.
There was a really awesome mod for Skyrim I saw. It was like a cartoon mod. Just made everything look super cartoony. I'm like, that's what I want to play. I want a PC just to play that mod.
And there's always they always make like mods that increase the graphics, make them better.
Make them look
like
better.
Ultra realistic mod. Especially like years down the road, they'll have updates again. Like you can play Skyrim still, and there are mods that make it look like a new game.
Yeah.
And other mods could be extra storylines, player made, all sorts of stuff. So when they do this, it opens up the game so much, and them supporting it through using this browser for it, like adding it as officially part of the game, is a good step in the right. It's a step in the right direction.
It supports the people that are moderating.
It supports the community. Honestly, like it really rewards those loyal fans who care enough to put work into modding a game. It takes a while. So obviously, the first mod is going to probably be like naked people mod because that's just the internet. But we look forward to seeing what creativity the internet has for Fallout 4.
I know you haven't played the games, but Ratchet and Clank always has super awesome weapons in the game, and I'll talk about those later. But I like to see Ratchet and Clank weapons in Fallout 4. Yeah. I'll talk about some weapons later. I have a review.
Well, when I borrow that game, I'm sure I'll know more about it.
Super fun.
I've literally never played a Ratchet and Clank game.
Uncharted 4. You said there's a rumored 5 gigabyte day one patch.
Yeah, like 6 hours ago, I read on a blog on WordPress when I was like looking through to see where ours sat in the search bar.
So pretty.
One of them was talking about Uncharted 4. It is rumored to have a 5 gigabyte patch on day one.
Do you...
Not a big deal, but that's what it is.
Do you know what the patch is about? Because there's patch notes already out for it.
Nice. Well,
also, before we get to that,
okay.
There was a shipment of Uncharted 4 discs stolen in Europe. Like a whole shipment. Like, there's a lot missing. So, on Games Radar, there is a title, Uncharted 4 Day 1 patch. It's 5 gigabytes. Mainly adds extras and multiplayer.
Nice.
So finally some kind of good news for Uncharted 4. After the recent thefts and broken street dates, the Day 1 patch does not look like that much of a biggie. So those are the thefts I just told you about.
Okay.
It's apparently 5 Gs and doesn't seem to patch much. It doesn't seem to pack that much in, with only general fixes and improvements mentioned. And there's a picture, let me see if I can pull it up, of the specific notes. There's multiplayer support, single player encounter select menu, which I assume is just like chapter select.
Yeah.
There's photo mode, character model viewer, render modes, gameplay modes, single player character skins, weapon selector, journal viewer, concept art galleries, and other fixes and improvements. So the fixes and improvements at the very end there could be something big. Mm-hmm. And normally you don't like day one patches on things. It means that they couldn't ship it out 100% complete. Right. Which is kind of ridiculous because Uncharted 4 has been pushed back like 3 different times. Mm-hmm. But this doesn't concern me that much. Naughty Dog, like, when was the last time you played a bad Naughty Dog game?
It's been my entire life. I can't think of one bad Naughty Dog game.
Exactly. So just extras options and like multiplayer is all that's happening in this. So it's not something to worry about. A lot of people get up in arms about day one patches. I, myself included, I don't necessarily think they're necessary. I don't think that this is specifically necessary right now. Because like I don't think that the day one patch is necessary for Uncharted because they pushed it back 3 different times.
Right.
But it might have something to do with the thefts. It might have something to do with all this other stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. Games nowadays are just so much more complex what they were before.
Could be the biggest PlayStation third-party exclusive game.
That was a lot of words.
That meant all different things.
That was the most exclusive adventure game set in Africa with a guy who's related to Sir Francis Drake that's ever been released.
Anyway, what I meant to say, I did say, I guess I'll clarify, is the largest third-party developed game for only the PS4. Like, it's not on Xbox, it's not on PC.
For sure.
The other huge games for PS4, Fallout 4, I guess Metal Gear Solid, those are all for other consoles. Mm-hmm. This is the only one. So, like, the infamous Second Son. Not the big. Ratchet and Clank did incredible.
Yeah, it's been killing.
Ratchet and Clank, this one for the PS4, the 2016 release, outsold the other. There's a Ratchet and Clank Crack in Time, which came out for the PS3, which was the highest selling Ratchet and Clank game until this one, and this one beat that by over 3 times the amount.
Wow, that's a impressive beating that it just gave that old one. I was trying to think of a good word for that, but beating is just, man, that's 3 times?
Yeah. I mean, it's by the same people, so they all get the same amount of money back from it, but like...
Right, but how...
It sold millions and millions of copies. It's one of the best games, if not the best game I played on the PS4.
Really? Now I really want to play it.
You're going to play it.
I am going to play it, but Uncharted 3.
Otherwise, listen, next week is going to be our Uncharted episode.
Oh, no. If
you don't beat it by then, I'm spoiling the ending for you.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to need to get it done. Listeners, you can tweet at me.
Tweet at him.
Make me do it. I want to. I just got to find time.
Before I get to the games that I've been playing, let's talk about the Call of Duty release for this year. I don't necessarily like to talk about it, but this is pretty big news. There's been a lot of stuff going on with Black Ops 3, so I don't like to give Call of Duty a lot of attention. However, Call of Duty is one of the biggest games. Always. It's always one of the highest sellers every single year.
It's a blockbuster.
The last game, Grand Theft Auto 5 sold more copies, but Grand Theft Auto comes out like once every 3 years. Mm-hmm. Maybe once every... There's only one Grand Theft Auto for the last generation. GTA 4 was for the PS3 and the Xbox 360. GTA 3 was for the PS2. Mm-hmm. GTA 5 was for the PS4. GTA 6 will probably be for the PS4K.
That alone or both?
That alone.
You mean PlayStation Neo? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. We've talked about that a little bit. Yeah. If there's a, I don't know if you thought it was good, but on PS I Love You XOXO, which is the PlayStation podcast, which I listen to every once in a while, they have a good 10-minute segment on one of their episodes about what they think of PlayStation 4K, which is called PlayStation Neo. I listened to it. I thought they had a lot of good points. There is harsh language, explicit language, which is not something we have on our own channel, but... If you want to find out more about PlayStation Neo, the people over there on PS I Love You XOXO have been in the industry for an incredible amount of time.
Oh yeah, they're pros.
I recognize them. I respect them as game media artists.
Yeah,
and they have a better insight than what I do and what Justin does.
Yeah, and we released an episode about the PS4K, and if we thought it was a good idea, but a lot of that at that point it was a lot of speculation. There's been a little bit more information, and they seem to know what they're doing a little bit better. And one of their hosts, I can't remember, Colin, everything
Greg.
He's predicted so far has been correct. So
for the most part, about not just PS Neo, but about things in general.
So we have a lot of respect for them.
So go give them a listen if you want. You can even tell them that we sent you.
Yeah,
that won't mean anything to them.
They probably won't. They'll be like, Underpaid Gamers.
Who the heck is that?
Who is that?
Anyway,
they don't make enough money for us,
right? So Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is the new game coming out on November 4th. There was cover art released. I think it was a Target. Someone like Snapchatted a picture of like the Target and commercialization of it. Like, you know how like Target has end caps? Someone took a picture of the end cap and like Snapchatted to somebody, then it blew up. So it got huge.
The internet.
So the new Call of Duty, which is releasing November 4th, is called Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which I find funny because Infinity Ward is who makes it. And I'm just like, you guys
see what they did there. Look at the data.
However, normally people are like, man, Call of Duty always gets all this attention. This time I think it's deserved because they also announced on this leaked Snapchat that Modern Warfare, the original, is being remastered, which is something that people have been begging for a long time. People seem to think that Modern Warfare, the original, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare...
Which is a good game. I enjoyed that game.
The best Call of Duty that's ever been made. Now, I didn't play that game very much. I have different opinions. We'll get to it first. But before that, there have been some tweets that have kind of like confirmed that they're remastering it, and then the picture came out. So now everyone is assuming that this is coming out this year, which people want. On the picture itself, it says Call of Duty Infinite Warfare includes Modern Warfare Remastered. So you're at the very least you're paying $60 for Infinite Warfare, and then get the Modern Warfare Remastered.
Wow.
However, I would not be surprised if they jacked up the price to like $100, $120
to get both of them.
To get both,
yeah. It's probably like the collector's edition. You get the remastered version too, and then it'll end up being a huge chunk of change. Yeah,
but. Do you want to talk about Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare for a little bit?
Well, I remember when Call of Duty 4 came out, it was a huge leap for Call of Duty.
First-person shooters.
For first-person shooters in general. They had, what was it? They had terrain that you could hide in. Like, I remember the big deal was that you could hide in the grass in Call of Duty 4.
I think there was ghillie suits. I think
there were ghillie suits, and that was like, they actually were effective. Like,
yeah.
You could seriously hide, and it was amazing. Also, they had you can shoot through things.
Yep, bullet penetration.
Bullet penetration, that was a new thing.
Kill streaks. I don't know if they were the first people to do it, but they did it well.
They did it very well.
Perks,
a lot of customization. Like all the modern day tropes, is that the word? All the modern day standards of FPSs kind of seem to come from this.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Yeah, the original I always called it Call of Duty 4 because that's what it said. It was green. I remember I had it on PC.
Yeah.
The bullets dropped and the sniper rifles on that one too.
Yeah.
I remember one of the missions is you snipe a guy from a building.
Yeah.
In Chernobyl, I think.
Yeah. It was a good story.
Story was engaging.
It kicked off the trilogy of Modern Warfare.
Oh yeah.
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, and I remember at the time it was graphically very impressive. I remember reading in Game Informer. They had a big article about it, and everyone was so amazed at the cigar because the cigar that the sergeant or whoever your leader was had, it like glowed, and it would like have an ambiance.
Like when you're in a mission.
Yeah, when you're in a mission, like you could see the glow around him and hit everything around. So it was like everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, look at that!" And you can hide in the grass. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
and it was it was a solid game.
So these things that are taken for granted now kind of all stemmed from Call of Duty,
from what I could tell. Yeah,
the most popular first-person shooters of today, not counting Counter-Strike, is like Halo, Battlefield, Battlefront, Call of Duty. Those all are very similar games. You can all make your own class. You can make, you have like, I mean, Battlefield not so much, and Star Wars not so much, but you have like kill streaks. I don't think there are any vehicles you can drive around in Modern Warfare.
I mean, that's the big difference between Battlefield and Call of Duty has always been vehicles and size of map. More customization, I think, in Call of Duty, but Battlefield, you do get customization within your primary and secondary weapons, and I know there's different outfits you can get in some of them. So
Infinity Ward developed Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4, and then they broke off and they became, I don't remember what they're in now. I don't remember what company they are now, but they're the company that makes Titanfall. So even though Titanfall kind of sucked, they're making Titanfall 2, which is coming out for the PS4 and the Xbox One and all that stuff. So that's coming out, but that's the team behind Modern Warfare. As I've talked about before, I didn't have an internet connection or a PS3 until late in the game. I didn't have anybody to play games with. So I would go to a friend's house and play Xbox, and I played Call of Duty Modern Warfare on his Xbox a lot. So I never owned it. I didn't get a lot of playtime, but I would play it there, and there's some levels that I remember, there's some score streaks and some weapons and all these other things, and I wanted to talk about that for a little bit. It would be interesting to see a Modern Warfare remake.
Now,
remaster.
My question would be, would it just be a graphics update?
See, that's
with like compatibility to the upper generations, or would this be like a reworking of Modern Warfare?
That's what I'm saying. I think a lot of people want it just to be graphical. They just want servers. They just want it to be graphics.
Yeah, compatibility and graphics.
Don't think that's a good idea. I think
why not?
We've come to a certain place where if Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was released today, people would think it's a bad game. People would think it's unbalanced.
Yeah, but people aren't playing it, don't want to play Modern Warfare because it's cutting edge. They want to play it for the nostalgia's sake. Okay. Because it was so good. They want to remember what it was like. They want to have the simplicity of that game compared to what it is now. I feel like if they want the new features, the new everything,
which
not a remaster.
It looks like they're going to.
Yeah. Probably together.
I could compare that, or I would try to compare that to Battlefront. Battlefront does not have a lot of people playing it right now, but people bought it for nostalgia.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's
very successful in terms of sales.
The game, the population of it is kind of fallen off.
Yeah.
But people bought it for Star Wars, expecting it to be like Battlefront, the game, and it's nothing like Battlefront 2 on PS2.
Yeah, it's more like Battlefield Star Wars.
Yeah, so maybe that has something to do with it. But if they remade Call of Duty Modern Warfare, there are some things that they would have to fix. Otherwise, it's going to be a broken game.
Right.
I have something specifically in mind.
NoobTube?
NoobTubes I totally forgot about. It's not on my list, but yeah, that's one. There has not been a grenade launcher attachment in like a Call of Duty for like 2 years. Which is good.
Which is good for the multiplayer.
Score streaks are a huge problem. In Call of Duty Modern Warfare, you do not get to select score streaks like you can in the previous, the most recent Call of Duties. There's only 3. There's a UAV, there's an airstrike, and there's an attack helicopter. I remember specifically in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, if the helicopter's only 7 kills, and it does a whole bunch of damage. If you got 7 kills and then died, if you called in the helicopter and it got 7 kills, it would give you another helicopter. So your score streaks go between life and life, which is a big problem because you can just spam the same thing over and over again. So they need to fix that. So that's something very specific, something that's directly on Modern Warfare that would have to be changed, and that's one thing that I don't think people would like.
Yeah.
Because it's no longer the original game anymore. Also, there's perk problems I have written down. Juggernaut is a perk that gives you more health than somebody else. That's countered with stopping power, but recently there has not been a stopping power perk in Call of Duty for a couple of years, I don't think.
Right.
There's the M16 is a 3-shot burst weapon. I think just kills people in one burst.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of things that I think would need to be patched for it to be a balanced game, because I don't think the original...
You don't think the original game was balanced?
I don't. However, there are some levels specifically that are my favorite Call of Duty levels of all time. Crash is one of them. Crash is it's like an Afghanistan level. There's a helicopter down in the middle of it. There's a 3-story tower on top. There's like a fence around it you can shoot down.
Yeah, I know that one.
Creek, I believe, might have been DLC. I don't think it was originally with it. It was just like a forested area.
Yeah, I'm not remembering that one. So probably DLC.
Overgrown, I believe. It was I believe this was like a Russian site. So it's like a Russian village. There's a creek going up through the middle of it. There's a bridge on one side. There's a barn on another side, and just like houses on this side. It's just this was remastered for Modern Warfare 2, I believe. Maybe that was only in Modern Warfare 2. I don't know anymore. Pipeline was a fun one. Pipeline, there's a huge like factory you get on top of and start sniping people. And then Bog. Bog is one of the most popular ones. It's like Bog is like a night level. There's tanks and stuff. It's in a war zone. But I think the reason people want to play Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, a remake of it, specifically is for the levels, and so they can abuse some of the things that they liked in the original Modern Warfare that I think would need to be patched for it to be a successful game. I don't think, and this is the same thing with like, to bring in Melee to this, people are asking for a Melee HD all the time.
Right.
But some good things about glitches and problems in the game have made the game to what it is now.
Right.
Same thing with Modern Warfare.
They take advantage of that. The pros do, and that's what makes them so good. Is they know they break the game, like
and Melee and in Call of Duty and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think people have this nostalgia for a game that once they play it, once it's remastered, it's not going to be as good.
Well, I guess the question is, what do we want to get out of the game? Do we want it to be another modern day Call of Duty that's going to be used in tournaments? That's going to be, all hyped up, all about reaction time, like really competitive, or is this supposed to just be nostalgic? I mean, I guess it's really what you want out of it. I would assume that the point of this is not to replace their flagship new title, but to appease the nostalgia crowd. And I don't think it's really a problem for them to release it as it was, just updated to work on the new consoles and with graphics. Because, I mean, honestly, I don't see a remaster ever being something that's like really played in like MLG or in esports or anything super competitive. Like people who want to play Call of Duty competitively, they're going to get the newest one.
Yeah.
They're not going to go back. They may play the remaster one just for fun, but I don't really see it taking off as being like the sole Call of Duty, like the flagship of it. It's a remaster. It's for nostalgia.
I think it's going to be incredibly popular, especially if this Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is going to have jetpacks and things like the last two Call of Duties have. Because people complain about these jetpacks all the time.
Right.
But if the only option is play Call of Duty with a jetpack, which I don't like, or play Modern Warfare, which is notoriously broken, which one am I going to play? I think they're going to have to make Modern Warfare as good as possible and patch some things that didn't exist in the first game if they want to keep their audience.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Who knows? I mean, we don't know.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. All we can do is speculate.
I have been playing so many games recently.
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank. Life is Strange. I played the Mirror's Edge beta. I played Lego Avengers for like 2 hours, and I just picked up Dragon Quest VIII. I want to touch on those real quick. Specifically, Ratchet and Clank. I uploaded a Let's Play of that to YouTube. It's 14 episodes, I believe. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Quite a bit of content there.
Yeah.
If you're interested, you can check them out.
On YouTube. Ratchet and Clank. I have played every single Ratchet and Clank game since its inception. I love Ratchet and Clank. Like I've said before, of the three that are normally associated with it, Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper, and Jak and Daxter, I think Ratchet and Clank might be my least favorite of the three. However, these games are still incredibly fun. Still one of my favorite games. One of my favorite game series. I have platinumed it. I've gotten the Platinum Trophy.
Your Platinum Quest is complete.
That's right. The game itself is like a 10 to 12 hour game, just in general. However, there's a challenge mode afterwards, which is a new game plus, essentially, where your bolts get a multiplier, depending on how many enemies you kill without getting hit. You go through the game again, except this time you get to keep all your weapons, so you're going to level those up again.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun. It's definitely worth playing. The second time I played through it, which I did, you had to do to get a platinum, it took me like 4 hours instead of the 10 or 12, just because you can skip every cutscene. You already have these weapons that are super powerful. I played it on a harder difficulty the next time, which made it more fun, but I didn't record that. It's not on YouTube. There's some changes between the original. Oddly enough, like in the original Ratchet and Clank aren't friends. Like, they kind of hate each other.
Really?
In the remastered version, they're like best buds. So that's a welcome change. Obviously, graphics. This is narrated by Captain Quark instead of just third person of Ratchet and Clank going through that. So some of the stuff that he says didn't happen in the original. They've added 1 or 2 new planets, things I didn't recognize, but also there are some planets that are pixel for pixel the same as in the first one.
Huh.
The visuals, it's incredible. It is literally a Pixar movie that you get to play.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I watched some of your replays of it, and I was very impressed with the graphics.
Yeah, it's incredible. There's always this weapon. There's always one weapon in Ratchet and Clank games. Generally, it's the Rhino, which is RYNO, which is an anagram for the weapon, which is in turn called Rip Ya a New One. That's the name of the weapon. Is Rip Ya a New One. I sent you a picture of the description.
I remember that. The description was hilarious.
Yeah, the game is hilarious in general, but there's always just this one weapon that does so much on the game that it lowers your frame rate. And normally you're like, man, the lower frame rate, that's awful. But like the game runs so well that the fact that this weapon just does so much and it lowers the frame rate, you only see it necessarily when this weapon the Rhino specifically is the best weapon in the game. And to give you a breakdown of what it is essentially a rocket launcher that fires at the speed of a submachine gun that has a 2,000 round magazine and it shoots rockets out. Like, that's what it is. Those are the weapons that are in Ratchet and Clank.
That's ridiculous.
It's the best gun in the game. It does the most damage. And it's so much fun to use. But there's also other guns. One specifically called the Groovatron, which is so like it's very similar to a grenade, where you throw out this grenade, but instead of a grenade, it's a disco ball.
Nice. And
it goes up into the air, and then it makes whoever is in the range dance. And when they dance, they can attack you. Then you can switch weapons and kill them, whatever.
Nice.
But every character in the game has a very specific dance animation.
So you kind of want to see them all.
Yeah, so you want to see them all dance. There's a trophy to get every enemy character in the game hit with a Groovatron. Mm-hmm. There's a weapon that you get later on in the game called a Sheepinator.
Nice.
Which is...
I do like it.
It's like a laser beam, but instead of hurting people, it turns them into sheep. There's like 3 different rocket launchers. There's a little buddy called Mr. Zircon, it's a weapon, and it's a little AI character that flies like over your shoulder and just has a minigun. He doesn't have a minigun, he has a laser gun. And normally that's fun in general, but he has the best one-liners in the game of all time. Like, if you...
Better than Sully from Uncharted?
Oh, 100%.
Really?
It's like if you picture John Wayne, like things that he would say in old westerns, but put that in a little robot dude that fights with you. Like, those are the kind of things he's like this big tough guy. Yeah. He's just a little robot. So funny.
That is pretty cool.
What else is there? There's Agents of Doom, I believe are what they called. It's another glove bomb type thing where you throw them down, and then these little robot creatures come out of it and they blow up and kill all your enemies. All the enemies are super cartoony. If you want to, you can watch the YouTube video and see what I'm talking about, but the overall story, like, it's kind of the story itself is kind of a kid's game, so kind of go in, like, it's not going to be a heavy-hitting story like The Last of Us, but it's entertaining all the way through. Like I said, I played it through twice immediately, so it was super fun. The overall gameplay experience, 100%. It's a must-buy for the PS4 if you just want a fun game. Like, if you just want a game that looks good, runs well, and just a blast to play, Ratchet and Clank is very going. Like, I can't say it.
I mean, it sounds like a very entertaining type of game. It's one of those games that it doesn't take itself too seriously.
Right.
But it's just a good time.
Right.
For the player. So.
To touch on Life is Strange, I also platinumed that. Life is Strange is an episode story. I think there's 5 or 6 episodes. It was released episodically on PC, then was remastered for the PS4. The story was kind of mediocre. The gameplay was also kind of mediocre. Overall, like, I heard a lot of good things about Life is Strange, but this one I was like, I don't really care. Because at the very end, like, you have a lot going on. But the main character still finds time to go and talk about, like, personal things with other people. I'm like, you don't have time to talk to this person and be like, I'm sorry I spit in your hair. Like, you're trying to save the world. Like, go do that instead of talking to her about this crap. So, like, the very last episode took me a little bit by surprise. So there was a nice little twist in there. I was getting fed up with it, and then it kind of twisted and turned a certain way I didn't expect it to, so that was fun. I got a platinum on it, which is really nice because you can go back through, instead of playing the whole level, because sometimes levels take like 3 hours, you go to specific locations, and it'll tell you, you missed this collectible, this collectible, this collectible. Go find those collectibles. All you need to do is get these collectibles, you get a platinum trophy. So I did that, super easy. Gameplay itself, fine. Overall story itself, I was a little disappointed. So, whatever. Mirror's Edge beta.
Yeah, how was that?
Did you play it? No, you didn't.
I did not play. You texted me to play it, but I think I was I in New York during that?
I don't remember.
I can't remember.
The Mirror's Edge beta. Have you played Mirror's Edge, the first one?
No, I've seen videos about it. I understand its basic mechanics and how it works, but I've never played it.
Mirror's Edge it's a first-person, free-running parkour game, I guess was what you would say. So you're on these rooftops instead of like on the street. Mm-hmm. There's a story to it. I don't know what the story is. The story never is not like that gripping.
It's more about gameplay.
It's more about the gameplay. Nice. And like, so like one button's sprint, one button's like R2 is sprint, L1 is jump, R1 is like other stuff. But it's a track first person game. So like you have to go from point A to point B. You can't go over here to point C. You have to go to point B. You can't go from one place to the next. You have to go on the specific way. Now there's different ways to go there on like this track.
Okay, so it's not like completely on one track. You have to go the one specific way. Is it like point A, point B, but there's like 3 ways to get there? Or is it like one way to get there, A to B, through the whole game?
So picture it like you're in New York City, and you're on the rooftops. You have to get from this one rooftop to the next rooftop, or a couple rooftops down. Mm-hmm. Now instead of like climbing this ladder to get on top of that, you can jump on top of this AC unit and get on top of this and go over there. So there's different options on ways to get there.
Okay.
But it's still like an on track. However, the beta, the new Mirror's Edge Catalyst, is open world. So now there's different options to get anywhere. Like, you don't have to go from point A to point B. You have more options. Instead of just going, I'm going to climb this ladder, or I'm going to get on top of this AC unit, you now have, I don't even want to go in that building at all. I'm going to go way over here on the long way. I'm going to wall run. I'm going to swing on this. I'm going to jump on this. I'm going to do all these other things. And I think that's a very needed improvement, and it was a lot of fun. The story still, I'm confused. I don't care. I just want to play it.
It's not gripping at all.
Yeah. The beta was like 2.5 hours long. It was not the best beta I've ever played. The best beta would either be Destiny or Black Ops 3. The overall story is just like, I don't know. Like, I don't care. There's unlockables. You can unlock different ways to maneuver over things, different combat options. Eventually, in the original, you can pick up guns from enemies and start shooting people. I assume that's the same in this one. So there are some fun things where like you can wall run and then jump over something and jump on top of like an AC unit. Then like while you're in the air, you can like shoot somebody and then keep running. So that's fun, and it's very, you feel very interactive with the way that she's running, as opposed to like I assume if you played Call of Duty Black Ops 3, it's focused on shooting. Call of Duty. Mirror's Edge is focused on running, so you feel more like you're doing the running.
Yeah.
I would not suggest this for a VR experience.
Unless you're a marathon runner, right?
Well, even that, like you're jumping off buildings and stuff. Like I don't know how you're gonna do that in a room.
I don't know either.
I went back and played Lego Avengers for like 2 hours, and I hated it, which is so weird because I always thought the Lego games are super good, but this one, like,
I mean, they're good for what they are, you know?
Well, I don't know. Like, the controls specifically were horrendous. So, like, you have an attack button, which is square. You have a jump button, which is X. You have a switch character button, which is triangle. And you have, like, a use your special move / build Lego bricks with circle.
Yeah.
But you don't know necessarily when you can build Lego bricks. You don't know all this other stuff. So
you could, like, waste your special when trying to do Lego bricks?
Yeah, stuff like that.
That's annoying.
I actually got stuck on a thing to where I had to go on YouTube and figure out how to get past it, which is frustrating to me on many fronts because a kid's game is stumping me. I've been playing this game for a long time. The controls are frustrating.
It makes me question your adulthood.
I'm playing as Spider-Man, which is my favorite, and I'm not liking it. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. I didn't like it.
You have the advantage of abstract thinking, and you can't beat it?
Right?
That is annoying. That's frustrating.
It turned out that there's like 2 buttons on the ground that you had to press, but I didn't know they were buttons because of the camera angle. You can't control the camera angle. It's like a 2-dimensional thing. So like, I might go back to playing it, but I doubt it. Like, I bought it so me and Emily could play it, and then she doesn't like it that much. I went back to it thinking I would enjoy it, and I was like, F no. I'm on the 3rd level, and the characters you get on the 3rd level are Black Widow and Hawkeye. Welcome to Snoozeville.
Hey, Hawkeye is a good...
Eventually you get Spider-Man, so that's cool.
Hawkeye's fun. You get to shoot bows.
I did not like it.
Okay.
Now, on the game I'm currently playing is Dragon Quest VIII for the PS2.
I walked in on this. And Tony looked looked up to me, and then just looked right back to the game.
Yeah,
kept playing a little bit. He's like, "Oh, hey man." I was like, "What are you playing?" Like, Dragon Quest.
I just saved it. I have over. I started playing this when I first moved into this apartment.
I was gonna say, is this still that second playthrough?
This is like my 8th playthrough.
Okay, but I mean, when you started to play through,
I just started playing it a while ago. I just picked it back up. I just plugged in my PS2. I have over like 56 hours played. Most of that is from the first time, not from when I just picked it up. However, I remember from the first time, I had not. In the 56 hours, I have not once had my team wiped out, which means that the 4 people have never died all at once.
Yeah.
And I very distinctly remember a very close call I had where everyone was dead except for one person, which was my tank. He had 2 health left.
Ugh.
2 of 500.
That's scary.
He eventually ran away from the battle. I got him to run away. And then, because he's the physical tank, he doesn't have any magic powers, so I couldn't use any magical powers
to revive anybody?
I couldn't revive anybody. I couldn't... There's a zoom spell which takes you back. It's like a teleport in like Pokemon. Like takes you back to like a PC, like a health center.
Yeah.
He didn't have any of that. Luckily, I had 1 Chimera Wing, which is an item that does essentially the same thing.
Okay.
But I had to look through all my inventory to find it. But he had 2 health. I was so afraid I was going to die. Because when you die, you lose half your gold. I had like 100,000 gold. I'm like, I don't want to lose any of this.
That would be a lot.
And gold's not that easy to come by. Like, you get like 850 gold for a battle win. So I had a lot of gold. I didn't want to lose any of it. Luckily, he made it out alive. That was my last playthrough. Last night, however, I was playing, and there was an enemy, and there's a specific spell called Whack, which is you single out an enemy, and you don't do any damage to it. It's just an immediate death spell. There's an advanced version of this spell called Thwack. Because in Dragon Quest, the very basic spells, there's one called Sizzle, there's one called Sizz, there's one called Frizz, there's one called Swoosh, stuff like that. When they advance, when they get to the higher version, there's normally 3 versions. Like Sizz turns into Sizzle, Frizz turns into Frizzle, Swoosh turns into...
Swizzle?
No.
Swizzle, nizzle, rizzle?
Drizzle? Swoosh turns into like Swoosh or something like that. Or Swish to Swoosh. And then the 3rd level... Sizzle is now K-Sizzle.
K-Sizzle!
Frizz is now K-Frizzle.
Kablam!
And Swish, or Swoosh, is now K-Swoosh. So those are the highest forms of that spell.
Yeah.
Whack has only 2 forms. It's Whack and Thwack. Thwack is the highest one, which instead of targeting just one enemy, you target...
all of them.
A group of enemies. And normally... Whack and Thwack have like a 50% hit rate. So then it's pretty low for hit rate.
And is that individually rolled for each
That's
of the
individually rolled.
Okay.
And this enemy came up to me, and it was just my 4 guys versus this one guy, and he casted Thwack on the first turn. And I watched as each one of my characters fell to their doom. Oh my
gosh.
Hero dies, Yangus dies, Jessica dies, and Angelo dies. And I watch and stare as my screen goes black. And it says, "You have died." This is the very first time in 56 hours that all my people have died. I lost half of my health. In the game, there's a screen that keeps track of your highest damage you've done. How many times you fled from battle. How many times you've died. I watched as it went from 0 times dying to a 1 tick mark. You have died once. Are you kidding me?
That is
I literally set the controller down and tried to explain my disdain to Emily, and she just could not understand. So I'm telling you now, and the listeners.
I feel your grief. I feel the frustration.
I could have had a perfect game. I could have had a game where nobody ever died, which is not that hard because somehow, some way, I am way over leveled for where I'm supposed to be.
But you got thwacked.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be at like level 28, and I'm at like level 38. I'm 10 levels ahead. Normally, the max level is like 60, so I'm like a good... Like, 10 levels is a lot.
Yeah. Wow. I'm sorry for your loss.
That was rough, dude.
I'm sorry, man. That just sucks.
It's not stopping me from playing it. I have my laptop, my monitor, which I play on my PS4, and I have this small TV that I play Wii and my PS2 on. So I'm watching Psych on my PS4 while I play Dragon Quest. Psych is hilarious.
I know. I kind of want. That makes me kind of want to watch it again. I've seen them all once.
I've seen them all once as well, and then I just picked it up again for whatever reason. Now I'm on like season 3, episode 10.
Yeah. I just finished House of Cards, or caught up. So
wait, season 4?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Wait, have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen all of it.
Oh.
Last time we talked, you had just finished season 2?
Season 3?
I don't know. Zoe Barnes just died.
That's the last time we talked about it? Oh, wow. Yeah, that's the end of season 1, I believe. Yeah, that's the end of season 1.
What do you think of that threesome between Claire and
that was weird.
Frank and Meacham?
I did not like that. Favorite thing?
Somebody died in the last season? Her mother dies. Yeah,
mother dies.
That was weird.
Their hatred for one another kind of subsides. I hated season 3. I hated. I did not like season 3.
How come?
Because Frank and Claire are no longer teammates.
Yeah.
They are a beautiful team. Now, a terrible team, if I can judge their morality. Yeah. Terrible morality. But a very effective team at getting what they want.
Yep.
And that's what makes the show enjoyable. And that's kind of like the point of the show is to see them build their house of cards, right?
Yeah.
It's like to see how hollow everything is.
To work together.
And they work together they just manipulate everything into being how they want it to be. And I could have sworn at the end of the season that everything was going to fall and crumble.
And then they
figure it out.
Or season 4.
Into season 4. So I'm glad after season 3 they get back together.
I will admit that when I watch House of Cards, I'm also doing other things.
Yeah.
So what happens at the end of season 4?
Season 4 ends with Frank and Claire, president and vice president. She's not vice president yet, but she's been confirmed as the vice president running mate for the next election.
Yeah.
They allowed these homegrown terrorists who are a part of ICA, which is ISIS.
Essentially.
They captured some people. Frank talked them out of into releasing 2 of the 3 hostages, the wife and the daughter, but they left the father in custody, and they allow him to be beheaded
on national TV.
On national TV, they could have blocked it, but they didn't. They chose not to, so that they could declare war against ICO and go total war. Send in the troops, send in all parts of the military, just full out war against ICO to absolutely decimate them. And the reason he did that, to win the election. Everything's motivated by this scandal that has been uncovered, which has been essentially what he's been up to the last 3 seasons. By one of the reporters, Hammerschmidt. So in the first season, there was Zoe Barnes. Yeah. She was killed, but she was a reporter who was being sketchy with Frank.
Yeah.
Second season,
sexually sketchy.
Sexually, just all around sketchy. Like they're breaking the law, and he pushed her out in front of a train. She dies.
That was legit.
I did not see that coming. Her boyfriend in the second season is hounding Frank, trying to put together.
Is that Hammerschmidt?
No.
Oh.
Second season, I can't remember his name. He was the editor at the Herald Bulletin, or
not that.
Not that.
You keep saying.
I keep saying that.
Whatever.
The Telegraph.
Whatever.
The something Telegraph. He puts together this theory about how he's been manipulating, how he's been breaking the law, all this stuff. He gets thrown in jail for what was it?
He tried to break into the telephone lines of the FBI or something like that.
Yeah, he got framed by the FBI. He got kind of catfished into breaking the law. Gets thrown in jail as a terrorist for cyber terrorism is what it was.
Yeah. See, I was always confused with him and the writer that Frank hires.
Yeah. They look similar. I actually like the writer that they hired. He's a cool guy. But they do look very similar.
So that was in season 2.
Yeah.
Season 3,
Claire gets mad at Frank. They kind of fight a lot.
Is that when
into
her
season
mom
3
is dying in season 3? Or is that season 4?
That's where they introduce that character. Okay. Into season 3, Frank gets shot.
Yeah.
By
the guy that was in prison.
Yes, by Zoe's the cyber terrorist, Zoe's ex-boyfriend. So then he gets killed by the Secret Service, so he's done. But he had told Hammerschmidt, who was the chief editor of the newspaper he and Zoe had worked for, he told him everything, gave him all his theories, and so he picks up the investigation, but he brings credit to it. That's the issue, or that's the thing about him. He brings credit, he gets backing, he finds hard evidence. Frank's made enough enemies at this point who were former characters in the show who will now speak out against him in ways, give quotes, give hints. for Hammerschmidt, and so I thought, Hammerschmidt ends up publishing a report, an article, essentially talking about how crooked Frank is as president, and so Frank is like devastated. Him and Claire get together, and the only thing they can think of is, I remember they quote it, I can't directly quote it, but what they said was essentially, we can't win over their hearts anymore because they've exposed us. But one thing we can do is rule by fear.
Oh, yeah.
And so they decide together then that the way they're going to win re-election is not through winning over their hearts. It's by making them fear and thinking that they're their only option. And then they declare war. They allow the hostages, that one hostage to die, to be beheaded. Everyone sees it.
I missed all that.
They could have blocked it.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it is crazy, man.
I missed all that. That's fun.
So that's House of Cards. So spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Retrospectively, if you haven't seen House of Cards, I mean, it's been out for a while, so I'm not gonna feel bad about it. But House of Cards, man, that show is pretty nuts. Now I kind of want to know what happens because I just didn't know how they're gonna survive this whole scandal thing, and we'll see if this works. You know,
they have the writer that's writing them things that I think is good. I don't know.
I think he's a good person.
He's
better than
There's so many characters in this game, and like I said, in this movie, like I said, I was playing Fire Emblem. I watched it.
I wish I could talk about Game of Thrones with you, but
I'm on season 5, episode 2.
Nice.
So am I?
Because the first episode dropped last Sunday.
Yeah, I'm on season 5, episode 2.
So,
and I have not watched any more since I got back from Texas in February. It's been a couple months.
Well, if you catch up, you could watch them on Sunday with us.
Well, I doubt it.
Okay.
Maybe. No, I don't want to watch commercials. Ugh.
I don't know. Well, there are no commercials.
On HBO?
No. We watch it on HBO Go.
I also have HBO.
It's on the app. So, either way, that's what we got for you guys today. Thanks for listening.
Word.
You can always contact us, like we said before, by emailing us at, underpaidgamerspodcast@gmail.com. Email us there.
Or you can tweet at us at UPGamersPodcast.
Yes.
Or you can comment on SoundCloud at Underpaid Gamers Podcast. Or you can comment on blogs on WordPress.
Yes, you can. Podcast. You can comment on everywhere that we post our podcast and any of our content there is, except for iTunes.
Can you comment on iTunes?
You cannot on iTunes.
You can rate and review.
You can rate and review on it, which we would definitely appreciate. Thank you in advance. But you can do that on YouTube, WordPress, comments, SoundCloud, comments,
Twitter, replies,
tweets, messages,
emails,
text message. No,
not text messages. When you email us, you are sending an email.
It is, yeah. So there it is. That's what we got. Thanks, guys, for listening. I will see you guys next time.
Next time we talk about Uncharted.